Alright, what's going on, guys? If I had to pick my personal standout game of 2024, Black Myth Wukong would be that game 10 times out of 10. And I know I'm not alone in that choice, because the game was on a roll at award shows for Game of the Year, actually winning the Game of the Year award at the Golden Joysticks and the Steam Awards, as well as taking home the award for Best Action Game at the Game Awards. But one question that's been on everybody's mind since all those awards have been taken home is, are we getting DLC for Black Myth Wukong? And this has been a very weird question to follow, because while there actually has been a lot of news about DLC, it's managed to avoid the mainstream discussion for a while now, and reports have been pretty conflicting. However, it now looks like some leaks that revealed a lot of information about the DLC could actually be quite true, as they've been verified by recent updates, and we're going to take a deep dive into all of this today. But as we get started, if you want to stay up to date on all things Souls-like games, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and now let's get into it. To begin our discussion today, we need to actually go all the way back and see whether the prospect of a DLC for this game was something the studio was considering at all. And when we do go and look back, DLC was never officially confirmed to be happening from the studio themselves, but there were a ton of rumors circulating immediately after the game's release. One of which was this, from a supposed insider. Exclusive, Game Science aims to release 2 DLCs for Black Myth Wukong before the release of their next game, Black Myth Jiangxia. Codename. A few days ago, my source found sound files for both Buddha and the Jade Emperor, along with Neisha, who will have a bigger appearance in their next game. It would make sense because Game Science wanted the game to have 13 chapters, but they decided to make only 6. The next DLCs could feature Bull King, Boss Battle or Playable, Jade Emperor, and Buddha. The DLCs are coming after the Xbox port and physical copies. Expect an announcement in 2025 summer, likely the 20th of August. Now, before we actually dive into the details of that, one thing that could hint at this leak actually being real is that Game Science actually dropped a Chinese New Year video today, a little live action short film, and in that there's a scene where a car drives past and it zooms in on the license plate, and the license plate number is 25820. And of course, if we translate that to a date, it would be August 20th, 2025, which of course lines up exactly with what this leak was saying. Another thing that could corroborate this is that it appears Game Science did trademark the title Black Myth Jiangxia, although I couldn't find the date that happened, so I'm not sure if that was before or after this leak. But let's dive into some of these details. First of all, the suggestion that it was originally meant to have 13 chapters, which is just crazy to me because the game having 6 chapters already has a ridiculous amount of content. So 13, there's just absolutely no way that could fit into the game. It would make sense that that would be saved for DLC or even a sequel. But the subject matter revolving around the Jade Emperor and Buddha, those were of course the 2 most notable characters missing from the game, as obviously the Jade Emperor is the one kind of behind all the bad things happening. A lot of people expected there to be some kind of confrontation that happens, whether that's a boss fight or a level in the Jade Palace. Given the events of the game even now, if the story were to continue, it would make perfect sense for that to be the subject of the DLC. Now, to the point about Neisha, Prince Neisha actually does appear in the game, but only in one of the cutscenes. In the end cutscene of Chapter 5, we see Prince Neisha, along with Pagoda Bearer Li, sent to dispatch the Bull King. And for such a prominent character in the mythology, it is surprising that he didn't actually show up in gameplay. And like the Jade Emperor and Buddha, that does make him a very likely candidate for a main character in the DLC or sequel. And this actually leads me to another leak that happened that didn't get near as much coverage as this first one, that also mentions Prince Neisha. And when we get into this next leak, let me continue to remind you guys that these are just rumors, these are not verified, so don't consider them more than that. Having said that, this leak did correctly predict the boss rush mode update, so it does look like it has a pretty good chance of being true. So let's take a look. DLC leak with image and what Game Science is doing recently from an internal reliable source. This is from all the way back in September, it's still up, and I have not seen this debunked. They say, so I get a lot from my cousin who is working in a company that's subcontracted by Game Science. He often hangs out with the Game Science guys, so here are some good and bad news. Number 1, almost the whole Game Science team went to Fish Hot Pot Restaurant to celebrate the sales on the first weekend after release. He went with them too. Number 2, there are 2 DLCs planned, each contains 3 chapters. The first DLC is expected on August 20th, 2025. Teaser will be announced during Chinese New Year. Again, that also lines up with the video we got today, with the license plate hinting at that August 20th, 2025 date. And again, if there are 2 DLCs with 3 chapters each, it is also looking like the original 13 chapter plan was real as well. Number 3, some maps and levels that were already designed but not used due to release rush will be picked up. So the first DLC progress is already like like 20%. Number 4, there will be 2 to 3 releases before DLC, going to improve performance and add extra modes like Boss Rush. A co-op mode / PvP is heavily debated internally, and we may not see them in the near future. Once again, that's something that turned out to be absolutely real. We just got the Boss Rush update, so it seems like this leak is in fact true. But again, it's unverified still. Number 5, the first DLC will be the size of chapters 2, 3, and 5 of the original game, with some new areas in the original game as well. And that's a really good amount. That's very easily half of the original game. So if they manage to pump out that much content for the first DLC by August 20th, I'm not going to lie, I will be very impressed. Number 6, bosses leak in first DLC. I lucked out to get some pictures of concept art. So yes, another Luong boss. White probably two-phase like the deer in chapter 6, as this Luong was the horse in Journey to the West, and another spear boss, Prince Nesha. Now, since I haven't seen this leak gain mainstream attention, I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm not going to show those pictures on screen, but I'll let you know what they are. Like you mentioned, they are concept art pieces. The first is of a very regal looking horse. The second is a 9-headed guai that appears to be a mix between a dragon and a hawk. The third is of Prince Nesha looking very similar to how he does in the cutscene. And the final one, definitely the most interesting, is of Sha Wu Jing, looking kind of like this picture you're seeing on screen now. Number 7, a new armor set unknown and a new weapon, which is Nesha's spear in the first DLC. Number 8, the art director at Game Science is currently leading a team in Dunhuang and Xizang, aka Tibet, to get more inspirations. Those locations are famous in China due to the rich culture related to Buddhism. Number 9, bad news about the Xbox. Game Science originally wanted it published on Xbox as well, but Microsoft seems not really responding. Now they've sent 2 people to help the optimization. The performance is really bad. On Series X you barely get 30 FPS, on Series S it is like 7 to 12. So Game Science also has a dedicated team to work on this with 2 people from Microsoft, but no idea how it will go. And that seems to line up with what we've heard even recently as well. There were rumors of a PlayStation exclusivity deal, but Game Science has debunked that. At the end of the day, it seems like for whatever reason, it just does not work on Xbox. And then the final part of all of this adds something about transformation. I forgot to mention that the ultimate goal for the number of transformations. Game Science wanted to make it a total of 108. Now we have 54 spirit transformations and 10 spell transformations. There are still 44 to go for the 2 DLCs. Let's say one DLC you get 22, that probably means 20 new spirits and 2 new spells. So I guess around 30 bosses per DLC, like average 10 in each chapter. That's pretty much all I got. Hopefully I can get more info from him later. So there you have it. 2 absolutely massive leaks for Black Myth Wukong's DLC if they are true. And it does look like they are with everything considered, especially with the teaser and the hint at that August 20th date in the new video. But you guys let me know what you think. How does all of this sound? Are you excited for a potential Black Myth Wukong DLC? And have you completed the game yet? Y'all let me know down below. But if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like on it and subscribe if you're new around here. But with all that, I will catch you in the next one.